Have you ever lost something important? Like your phone, your wallet, or maybe your mind during rush hour traffic. Now imagine losing something that held the literal presence of God. Yeah, that happened. It's one of the greatest mysteries in the Bible. What happened to the Ark of the Covenant? This wasn't just a fancy gold box. According to the Bible, it carried the 10 Commandments, represented God's throne on earth, and had the power to bless or destroy depending on how it was treated. But one day, it just vanished. Poof, gone. And people have been searching for it ever since, from Indiana Jones to modern archaeologists. But maybe we've been asking the wrong question all along. Instead of just where is the ark, maybe we need to ask, why was it taken away? What was God trying to show us? Stick around, because this story is more than ancient history. It's a mirror that reveals something about us today. Let's start with the basics. The Ark of the Covenant was built by the Israelites under the direction of Moses right after they escaped slavery in Egypt. You'll find the instructions in the books of Exodus, chapters 25 through 27. And yes, God was very specific about how it should be made. Acacia wood covered in pure gold. 2 golden cherubim, angels, on top. Inside, the stone tablets with the 10 Commandments, a jar of manna, the bread from heaven, and Aaron's staff that budded. But what made the ark really special was what it represented. It wasn't just religious furniture, it symbolized God's presence. The ark was placed in the inner sanctuary of the tabernacle, the Holy of Holies, where only the high priest could enter, and only once a year. God's glory, his very presence, would appear above the ark between the 2 cherubim. In short, the ark was like the spiritual Wi-Fi router between heaven and earth. And that's why it was so central in Israel's story. Wherever the ark went, victory followed. Whenever they lost it, chaos broke out. So what happened? How did something so holy vanish? Let's rewind to one of the first big red flags. In 1 Samuel 4, Israel was at war with the Philistines, and things were going well. So the Israelites got an idea. Not a great one. They said, let's bring the ark to the battlefield. That'll force God to help us win. In modern times, they treated the ark like a spiritual cheat code, a holy good luck charm. But God doesn't play games. They brought the ark, the Philistines panicked, but then rallied. They fought hard and won. Israel lost the battle. Worse, the ark was captured. That's like losing your entire hard drive with God's presence on it. The priest Eli, when he heard the news, literally fell over and died. That's how serious it was. The message: you can't use God. His presence isn't something we control, it's something we honor. Now, here's where it gets hilarious and kind of dark. The Philistines took the ark back home like a war trophy and placed it in the temple of their god, Dagon. Next morning, Dagon's statue fell over, face down in front of the ark. Oops, they set it back up. The next morning, it fell again, this time broken. Then things got worse. People started getting tumors and plagues. Panic spread. They passed the ark from city to city like a hot potato of divine judgment. Eventually, they cried uncle. Let's give it back, with a gift. So they sent it back to Israel with golden models of rats and tumors. Yes, seriously, 1 Samuel 6. The takeaway: God doesn't need us to defend him. He doesn't need soldiers or politics or manipulation. He's God, all-powerful, self-sufficient, and very much in control. Fast forward years later, King David wants to bring the ark to Jerusalem. A noble idea, but he skips the instructions and puts the ark on a cart. At one point, the oxen stumble and a man named Uzzah reach out to steady it. Good intention, bad move. He touches the ark and instantly dies. David is shocked and afraid. He pauses the whole operation. Now, let's be honest, this seems harsh. Why would God strike down someone for trying to help? But here's the deeper truth. Uzzah assumed his hand was cleaner than the dirt. But the dirt never disobeyed God. Humans did. The lesson? Holiness isn't about our intentions, it's about God's instructions. God had already told them only the Levites could carry the ark, and it had to be carried on poles, not put on a cart. Eventually, David got it right. The ark was brought in with joy, music, and dancing. It was a moment of worship, reverence, and national celebration. For a time, all was well, but then the ark disappears from the story. And that's where the mystery begins. By the time we reach the Babylonian invasion around 586 BC, the ark's no longer mentioned. The temple's destroyed, Jerusalem falls, and the ark? Gone. No one knows exactly what happened to it. Some say it was hidden by priests before the invasion, maybe under the Temple Mount. Others believe it was taken to Egypt. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church claims they have had it for centuries in a small chapel in 𝐬𝐻𝐾, but no one is allowed to see it. Some think it's buried in a cave waiting to be found, others think it was destroyed. And yes, it even inspired movies like Raiders of the Lost Ark. But here's what matters most. After it disappeared, God never told Israel to rebuild or replace it. There's no command to make a new ark, no search party, no rescue mission. Why? Because the ark was never the point. It was a symbol, a signpost. And once the new reality arrived, the symbol faded away. Here's where it gets really powerful. In the New Testament, the ark isn't mentioned much, but its meaning is everywhere. The ark held the word of God, the stone tablets, the bread from heaven, manna, and the priestly authority, Aaron's staff. Sound familiar? Jesus is called the Word made flesh, John 1:14, the bread of life, John 6:35, our high priest, Hebrews 4:14. In other words, Jesus is the new ark. God's presence is no longer kept in a gold-covered box hidden in the temple. It's made available to everyone through Christ. And when Jesus died, the curtain in the temple, this one that separated the ark from the people, was torn in two. God wasn't locked in a room anymore. He was out in the open, accessible, personal, with us. That's the deeper meaning. The mystery of the ark isn't just about where it went. It's about what it pointed to. Absolutely. Here's the revised and more concise version of Part 7. What it means for us today with about 20% fewer words while keeping the depth, emotional weight, and tone intact. Let's bring this home. Why does the ark story matter now? We live in a world full of noise, constant distractions, endless opportunities. It's easy to feel like the sacred is missing. But the ark story isn't just about where it went. It's about what it meant and still means. The ark was a symbol of God's presence, not distant, not unreachable, but right there, walking with people through battles, exile, and uncertainty. That hasn't changed. God still walks with us, even when we can't feel it. Today, we each carry a kind of ark, not a golden box, but an inner awareness of God. Our conscience, our spirit. But just like ancient Israel, we sometimes treat it casually. We chase success, validation, or comfort, and forget the source of real peace. The ark story warns us. God's not a lucky charm. He's not a backup plan. He's a relationship. And that relationship requires trust and reverence, not manipulation. We're invited to walk with God daily, not just when life gets hard. And here's the twist. We don't need the physical ark to know God's presence. Jesus shifted everything. We became the temple. Paul even said the Spirit of God now lives in us. That presence you're searching for, it's already inside you, if you're willing to notice it. So the real question isn't where's the ark, it's where's your heart? Are you making space for the sacred, or has it been crowded out by fear, distraction, or doubt? The ark reminds us that the sacred isn't found in relics, it's found in relationship. God's presence was never meant to be boxed in. It was always meant to live in us. And even when we drift, God doesn't leave. He waits, patiently, ready to dwell with us again the moment we turn back. That's the real treasure. His unwavering presence, not in a golden box, but in your everyday life. So maybe the ark is still out there. Maybe one day it'll be found. But until then, we don't have to search deserts or decode ancient maps to find God's presence. We just have to look to Jesus, because he is the fulfillment of everything the ark once stood for. And when we trust him, we become living temples, carrying God's presence into the world. So the real question isn't what happened to the Ark of the Covenant. The real question is, what are you carrying? Thanks for watching. If you found this story meaningful, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more biblical stories with real-life wisdom, right here on the Bible Unveiled. We'll see you in the next video.